Found out that my wife named our son after her first love and our family and friends knew about it, so I told her that I'm going to change our son's name and she is livid. My son is 5. When my wife and I were deciding on the name, she said she remembered somebody from school who had it and instantly loved it. My wife and I both had a very promiscuous past before we met and agreed that the past should stay there, so I didn't push too hard to know certain details. I knew she had one boyfriend in high school who cheated on her, but I never asked his name, and that is my fault. About 2 days ago we were out shopping and ran into a high school friend of hers. She was catching up when she told her friend that we had a son. When the old friend asked his name, my wife hesitated and I told her. She had a strange look on her face and then said, "You mean like your ex-boyfriend? Our son's name is very unique to the point that I've never met another person with the same name." Now she refuses to talk to me about it. I feel betrayed and disgusted with her. It's like a switch was flipped my mind and I just can't look at her the same way. I'm not giving out my son's name. When we discussed the name, I had no idea it was her high school ex's name. I knew she had one boyfriend in high school whose name was never told to me, and their relationship lasted around 2 years. I'm upset, but that doesn't automatically make me abusive. I would never raise my hand to my wife or anyone else I care about. I will always love my son, and I would never, and I mean never, treat him any differently. So to get some things out of the way first, the kid is mine. I have very pronounced features that he also has, plus her ex was black and I'm white. So update time. Thursday we didn't discuss it because that is her late day at work, plus this wasn't a discussion I wanted to have with our son in the house. So Thursday night when she came in, I told her that Friday after work we needed to sit down and talk, and if she had any plans she needed to cancel. She looked very worried and said okay. Friday came and we sit down after her sister came to pick up our son for a sleepover. I asked why would not tell me where our name came from. She said she was sorry, but she didn't think it was that big of a deal and I would not agree to it. I told her that it was my choice to, and she took that away from me. I asked her if she would feel the same way if we had a daughter and named her after one of my exes, and she said that's different, I wouldn't let that happen. She said that she knows she can disconnect the name from her ex, but she wouldn't be sure I could do the same. I was floored and starting to feel sicker than I had felt. I told her that is one of the stupidest things I have ever heard come out of someone's mouth. I moved on because I had more questions and I was about to go off just on what she just said. I asked her if she still loved him and she paused for a minute, then said yes, but not in the same way she loves me, and that you don't just stop loving someone, that love changes. I wanted to throw up at this point. She could see that I was very upset. She smiled at me and said I should know she only wanted to be with me. I said that I needed to know how you love him. At that point, she put her hand on my leg and tried to change the subject. I told her to take her effing hand off me right now and answer the question. Her mood changed right there from wanting to move past this to know he didn't just effing cuss at me. She said, "Look, you're upset and I get that, but what is done, so you need to get over this and move on." She got up and said, "I'm meeting my mom for dinner, I'll see you when you get home." I told her if you walk out that door then no you won't. She looked at me like I was full of poop, grabbed her purse and left. I packed my bag and stayed at a friend's house last night. Right now I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what to do next. Update 2. So I came home the next day after staying the night elsewhere. She didn't really say much to me other than hey, and went back to messing around on her laptop. I went upstairs and put my things in the guest room and laid down to take a nap because I didn't get much sleep the night before. She came in and asked what I was doing, and I told her that until she was ready to sit down and have an adult conversation about the name I would be sleeping in here. She rolled her eyes and said that she thought I had got over and asked why I even bothered to come home if I was going to act like this. I told her because it is my home, I'm not going to miss out on time with my son just because I can't tell right from wrong, or at least admit it. She stormed off and that was that for that day. The next day, I came home from work and she was on the couch waiting for me. She asked what it was going to take for us to get back to normal. I told her that we would need to see a marriage counselor first off and consider changing our son's name to his middle name. The look of rage on her face when I said that last part was something I don't think I've ever seen before. I hate to say it, but it made me a little happy to see it. She told me to go F myself and that was never going to happen and stormed off. We didn't talk the rest of that day. The next day rolled around and my wife hadn't gotten home from work. Someone started knocking on the door and it was her parents. They said we needed to talk, so I invited them and we sat down. They said they knew what she did was wrong and they always knew, and so did her whole family and all her friends. They apologized to me for keeping it a secret and said that they agreed with counseling and they would be happy to pay for it, but changing his name is going too far. I told them, thank you, and that I hadn't made the decision without a lot of consideration. I told them that you really don't know what you would do till you're in this situation. After a little more talking they left and asked me not to tell my wife they stopped by. I agreed. Shortly after they left I called around and found a counselor and made an appointment that worked with both our work schedules. When my wife came here I told her about the appointment and she just walked off not saying a word. Our appointment is Thursday and I'm still sleeping in the guest room. That's what's been going on so far. Edit. I just want to say I'm not just going to up and change the name. It's something I'm considering. I want to talk to the counselor first to see what impact it might have, if any, and how to go about it if there are none. Update 3. We ended up getting a divorce.